Hello everybody who just happens to love that mercurial energy. We are talking about how to love a Gemini and how to know when a Gemini loves you back. Remember, it's so important that you realize and accept that compatibility goes far beyond just the sun sign. However, that can still give you a great platform to start with. This is a compatibility and love check for the Gemini energy. So this applies to Gemini suns, Gemini risings, Gemini moons, and anyone with just a heavy amount of Gemini going on in their chart. Gift giving is so important to Gemini people. They are extremely generous, and Gemini people want to give you tokens and mementos and souvenirs of your connection with them. One of the best things you can do is accept it, okay? Accept their generosity. Don't feel guilty, don't say you're sorry, don't reject it, no matter what you do. If you reject a Gemini's gift, they never want to see you again. When a Gemini gives you a gift, you're meant to treasure that. Put that in the memory box, remember it. You know, even if you might not think it's the greatest gift in the world, there is a lot of emotional currency in that gesture. Acts of service. Gemini people, in a very big way, love to be able to prove themselves by showing off just how committed they are by getting down and dirty and getting to work. Gemini people will go out of their way to not only volunteer themselves, but to also sort of hire themselves into your employment. If you are interested in trying to figure out how a Gemini really feels, find out when they're signing themselves up and drafting themselves to be of use to you. When they're volunteering to go shopping for you, when they want to stay up all night and talk with you, when they want to go out of their way, when they want to give people that you know rides, when they're trying to help you plan a party, clean up after the party. The Gemini is definitely looking to find any way to get close, and one of the most common ways a Gemini wants to get close is to be your knight in shining armor. Geminis need a lot of physical contact, and it's not because they are without, but Gemini people need to be coaxed into knowing when it's okay to give physical contact. It's a very common trait in a lot of mercurial signs, and if you also know a Virgo or a Virgo rising, it's very much the same. But with Gemini people, they're not as confident about initiating physical contact. So please go ahead and make the first move when it comes to hand-holding, hugs, and kisses. You know, it's very important to them because it means a great deal that a person is willing to do something that they would consider very emotionally risky. Words of affirmation also go a long way with Gemini people, because just like the feeling of being too physical or even initiating physicality can seem like a risk to them, a lot of Gemini people can grow up in situations where they are sort of told to censor themselves. And a lot of Gemini people can be conditioned, or a lot of the Gemini energy can be conditioned to censor itself too much. They don't know when it's okay to be sentimental. Now, Gemini people are naturally very chatty, but they're not always open with the I love yous, I want to see you do this, I think you're fantastic, and it's not because they don't think that. It's because somebody hasn't shown them or established that that's appropriate. Once you open the floodgate, they'll do the rest, but it's very important that, again, you take the first move with both these love languages. How to win points with Gemini and turn on your Gemini. One of the big things Gemini people like is to get the ball rolling with a good debate. Now, some people might think debates are uncomfortable, they lead to arguments and fights. It's not personal with a Gemini, you know what? And they actually like a little bit of that competitiveness, a little bit of that rivalry with their partner. In fact, getting into a good, hearty debate, is very intellectually stimulating for them. And Gemini people naturally want to be with thoughtful and intelligent partners. So being willing to go into a debate with them proves that, but it also earns you a lot of points by showing that you are not afraid of conflict and you are definitely committed to your beliefs. The Gemini doesn't care about winning you over. You can both agree to disagree once the debate is done. Ambition is another big one for the Gemini people, as well as creativity. Gemini people like to see and encourage other people to get their dreams accomplished, whether you want to be a poet, whether you want to be a songwriter, whether you want to be a painter, even if it's an ambition that doesn't even seem that creative, they want to know that you have a goal and a plan in life, because as per their acts of service love language, they're going to jump at the opportunity to help you see it through. They are very, very supportive that way. One of the biggest issues that you can bring up to a Gemini is the blame game. Alright, we do not want to play the blame game with a Gemini. It's your fault this, it's her fault that. You know, Gemini people get very, very turned off by a person who is not going to take responsibility for their life, not going to take responsibility for their actions. You know, there's no easier way to scare off or chase away a Gemini than to, you know, blame God, your mother, and the government for every ill in your life. Do not even go into the blame game with them. They want to have constructive dialogue, and that means everyone's got to take some personal responsibility. Repetitiveness is also a big no-no with the Gemini people. The Gemini people like a little bit of routine, all mercurial signs do, but what you don't want to do is copy and paste your lifestyle. Alright, when it comes to a situation where it's kind of like you give the same gift every year, or you have the same kind of intimacy a little bit too much, we don't shake it up, you know, it's very important to pay attention to where a Gemini might just be a little bit too bored or perhaps unstimulated, because again, they want to be with a creative person. They want to be with a person who might not necessarily be professionally ambitious, but somebody who is artfully ambitious. So that is just a little snippet on how to understand your Gemini's love language, what they say and what they need, as well as what turns them on and turns them off. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. You know I appreciate it. And don't forget to come back for your monthly and weekly horoscopes. And if you'd like to get a compatibility reading, or you would like to simply get a consultation, you can follow the links below and go to integrativemysticism.com.